What's going on, guys? Today is February 16th, about 11:48 a.m. over here on the East Coast. So today's vlog is going to be about keeping busy. I'll give you a couple of experiences when it comes to me and keeping busy, and like what I'm doing now, how I like mentioned it in previous vlogs. But I do believe that keeping busy is essential to growth. Um, a lot of the things that I do on a daily basis, they may seem like things that I just do, or activities that I participate in order to just keep busy. But I mean, everything has a purpose that I do, and everything that I put thought into and that I take time to do has some sort of outcome that I'm looking for. Like, I work out every day so I can you know be healthy, lower my body fat, and get to a goal weight that I have in mind. I do these vlogs every day so I can try and pursue my dreams of hopefully one day speaking in front of a large group of people. I go to school so I go to school majority of the week and do homework on other you know at other times to expand my education, and so I can continue to learn about different things. But I'm a firm believer that you have to have a busy schedule in order to be successful. There's I noticed that my most successful times in life is when I watch the least amount of TV for myself. Um, like I've said in a previous vlog, I gave up video games a while ago, and it was something that I just thought was a time consumer and didn't allow me to keep busy in the way that I needed to keep busy. So, um, all those things being said, what distractions can you cut out of your life in order to redirect your busyness, so to speak, to something positive? So instead of doing, like playing a video game or watching TV, what else could you be doing with your time to benefit you and your goal? There's so many people that have these dreams, but I notice so few people follow them, or so few people take the steps to even get started towards a dream. I believe that if it's a dream, if it's a passion of yours, you will do anything to get there. There's not going to be much that comes in your way. And this ties back to procrastination. If you, the, To a certain extent, I don't believe procrastination, and I'll tell you why. I do believe that some form of it exists, but to a certain extent, I don't. I believe it's a matter of importance. Like, just as I was riding back home, I was texting my wife that I'm free for lunch today, and she said, "Oh, you're gonna fit me into her busy schedule," which my schedule is pretty busy, and that's why I wanted to do today's talk on keeping busy. But you have to make time for the things that you love too. Um, Regardless of how busy your day is. You can always get up earlier. You can always go to bed later. You can sacrifice a little bit more sleep, but not to the point of where it's not, it's unhealthy. But what can you do? I mean, if you're sleeping more than 8 hours, 1/3 of your day, um, the other 16 hours should be maximized to performance. There was gaps in my life, um, or time slots per se in my life, where I was sleeping 6 hours a day in order to be up 18 hours a day, so I could be up 3/4 of the day doing what I needed to get done and only slept 1/4 of the day. Now, with other things, I mean, my life has never been as busier, but I noticed a compromise in my performance when I um, slept less. So I readjusted my sleeping schedule to now no more than 8 hours. And I did a lot of research on it. The new recommended sleeping number after some research is 7, but anywhere between 7 and 8. And then there's a huge varying for obviously older people above, like, I think it's 60, and then obviously infants and toddlers need more sleep than we get, but the average person should be around 7 to 8 hours. And I want to tie in something to this real quick. I've been a part of a lot of sleep studies classes, One was a sleep gym where you go and meet up with people who also have sleeping issues when I was going through some sleep problems of my own. And one thing that they recommended that I took away from the class is to start off, there's very few high functioning people that can sleep 6 hours and be fully awake, not tired, and fully functional. But one of the things I did learn in that class is that if you start off with 6 hours a day and then you increase it by 15 minutes every night, eventually you'll find your optimum sleep number to where you sleep. Like, I'll give you an example. This person started off at 6 hours, right? And then every night they increased by 15 minutes. When they hit 6 hours and 45 minutes of sleep a night, they felt fully refreshed. That was their number. It was 6 hours and 45 minutes. So when they went to bed every night, they would set their alarm for 6 hours and 45 minutes later. And then he increased it to 7 hours, 7:15, 7.5, and he felt drowsy. He was oversleeping. And I talk to, I speak to my wife about this all the time because I have a little bit of knowledge on it. And I notice that when I have go through busy cycles in my life where I'm sleeping, 4 or 5 hours and I'm getting up early, I'm staying up late, I do notice that I'm tired more, and I can only do that for a short span. I can't do it, for months at a time, but I can do it maybe for a week or two at a time, and then it becomes a little obsessive or a little too much for my body to handle. So, in relation to keeping busy, I mean, there's certain things that you have to do every day, which Tony Robbins calls rituals, and he says that you are a product of your rituals. So he says that he can tell by your body some of your rituals. So if you look at a person who's physically fit, you know that they work out a couple times a week, or else they couldn't look that way. If you look at a person and they're just exhausted and tired, you can tell that they're not sleeping the amount of hours they should be sleeping. And there's a lot of other things you can tell from people about their rituals. And your rituals are kind of going to be what guides you to, either success or being a part of, normalcy. And it depends on what your definition of success is. And that's still something I'm trying to cope with and understand in my life. I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of different definitions, but I truly think it's an individual based definition. And I've thought that doing certain things would bring me success in my life, and there's been some times where I have felt super successful and other times where I thought I would feel successful and I haven't. So it's just a lot of things, but all taken into account, a majority of the time I would try and keep busy. I did go through like some stagnant times in my life where people just get tired and they want to just hang out and really not do much other than work, and I've been there, and I didn't feel, excuse me, I didn't feel so good doing that. I actually slept worse because my day wasn't as productive. And there's a lot of things that go into that. Like I've said in a previous vlog, I know if I have a super busy day, a super productive day, I end up sleeping better. Regardless of how much sleep I end up getting that night, I know that I'm going to sleep rather quickly, and I know it's almost an immediate effect to what I did that day. So I truly believe keeping busy. You should have certain rituals that you do on a daily basis, and I try to start mine every day by working out, and then doing the vlogs. Try to do them first thing during the day, and sometimes I'll put them off on the back burner, and sometimes it ends up biting me in the butt. So you have to learn to adjust your rituals, but certain things you need to try and taper to best suit you, like the sleep. Figure out what your number is, and go to sleep and start at 6 hours. See if that works for you. When I explained that to my wife, and she thought I was crazy, she's like, I need more sleep. And she was sleeping, over 8, sometimes 9+ hours a night, and she would still feel tired. And I said, it's because you're oversleeping. Like I know this because I've been to I've done my fair share of research, and she was sleeping like toddler lengths, between 10 and 11 hours a day is what they should be sleeping. And of course, it's going to make her more tired because her body wants to be in that relaxed state. And it spent so much time in it that it doesn't, it's not any benefit to her. As adults, you have to spend more time awake sometimes, and which is what we normally do. The average person sleeps 1/3 of their day, which means you'll end up sleeping 1/3 of your life away. But successful people tend to sleep a lot less. Um, and that's just, the truth of it. They don't start reaping the rewards of being able to do what they want, sleep the patterns they want, until they've, sacrificed a lot for it. So those are things I want to leave you with today in regards to keeping busy. I do, like I said, believe that it's very beneficial, very essential to keep busy, even on a daily basis. Make routines. Keep yourself on track. Make calendars. And I've had people tell me that before. And I just was never a big fan of it, but it truly does help me plan out my month, my days, and know what I have to look forward to. And know when I have these gaps in times, like I know that I have to, I got a short window today, but in regards to importance, what else could I be doing? I could be doing homework or having lunch with my wife, or I could be doing both. I could focus on a little bit of homework before I have lunch with my wife and then continue to do it afterwards, but I have to work in the evening tonight. So all these things I take into account, and to tie it to procrastination, it's a matter of importance. You do what's important to you, and you do what you love doing. So for me, I know that the homework is important, so I'll do it as I can. But having lunch, I don't get that opportunity too many times per week to have lunch with my wife, and I truly like to do it at least once a week. Me and my daughter will go in there, but since she's out of town, I'll go in there, and I like to have that sort of ritual, so we can, I'm still making an effort to, do the little things that may go appreciated in the end. And I don't do them to look for appreciation initially. I do it because I love to, hang out with her, and it's a small opportunity. I know I have to work late tonight. Our schedules have been pretty opposite lately, so the time that I have with her is very valuable. So if I can increase that time a little bit by spending a half-hour lunch break with her, then I will. I mean, she only works 7 minutes away, so why not dedicate, 45 minutes out of my day to spend some time with her when I know I won't be home till, much later on this evening, when she may very well be asleep by then. And that's perfectly fine, but you have to prioritize things and do things of a matter of importance to you, and sacrifice the things that you don't necessarily need to do. Like watching TV, to me, is a luxury, and I only do it to reward myself, and it's after a long days of work. Very rarely will you catch me watching TV during the day, when I could be doing 100 other different things like homework, or making my blog, or working out, or working. There's a Very rarely will I watch TV during the day, and you have to sort of taper it off. That's what that would help me be successful, and that works in a lot of different scenarios. As you're modifying your diet to lose weight, you have to kind of taper off, because if you do it all at once, it's not successful. And I've tapered off TV over the last probably 10 years, and sometimes it can be more of a distraction than a benefit. And you should use it as a form of reward, not a form of normalcy. It shouldn't be a ritual for you unless your day is so jam-packed full of stuff that every evening you reward yourself with watching TV. So again, to tie it back to keeping busy, it's very important to prioritize the things that you must do in order to be to where you want to be. And then the things that you don't need to do, don't do them. Really think about the things that you do on a daily basis, and see what you could sacrifice in order to put, your best foot forward and be the person you want to be, and do the things that you want to do. I went to an event yesterday, for that sheriff who was who was injured, for lack of better words, and the event went pretty well. They gave him, he was finally given his service dog for, to help him get around and to do some certain tasks for him. And that's what I ended up doing yesterday. And even though I had plenty of other things I could be doing, that was a matter of importance to me. And that was something that I wanted to be a part of. It was something I wanted to experience. And the people I met there were also, very nice people. You just don't know, and you have to get out sometimes and be out there. Plus, my mom is a big supporter of what's going on and hosting a lot of the events that are going on in order to benefit this young man. And why not go there, if for nothing else, to support my mom? And you could come up with a bunch of different reasons. Did I have other things I had to do that day? Absolutely. I had came home and was studying for a test for a couple hours after that event to try and maximize my time, because I knew for that day I had to study for the test. I didn't have time the day prior, and I knew my window was for that day. And so she wanted me to hang out a little bit afterwards, but I couldn't because I had to prioritize. I had to come home and finish studying for a test that I had that evening. So again, all things I do to keep busy. And I notice once I'm accountable for, if you make commitments and you're accountable for, you're more likely to do them, obviously, or else you wouldn't make them. But when I have commitments made almost on a daily basis, it motivates me to get out of bed. It motivates me to, be up early to do the things that I have to do, because I'll take those commitments on top of my daily stuff, on top of going to work, on top of making vlogs, on top of doing homework, on top of, school and all these other things that I got going on. I'll still make commitments, because you have to keep those commitments and have to be engaged within your community, in order to kind of maximize your potential. So again, all these things, I was hoping to make today's video a little bit shorter. It's looking like it's 17 minutes almost, but again, I appreciate you guys watching, liking. I'm still receiving some comments and replying to all of them as I can. I'm back up to 15 subscribers, so again, my goal for the end of this month, we're in the 16th day, so roughly got, I think, 12 days left this month, unless it's leap year. No, it shouldn't be. But gonna try to make it to 20. I'm using some other platforms to try and help get my name out there a little bit more, and noticing a little increase in Twitter, and the followers I'm receiving. Now, they're not a lot of people by any means, but it's in the 30s, and the majority of those are friends or family. But there's a couple people who are retweeting my stuff now that I find kind of interesting. That means it's resonating with them, and I truly appreciate that. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I look forward to speaking to you guys tomorrow about tomorrow's talk. Take care.